After today, we will have successfully unlocked the secret of your wives and women. With this step-by-step process, you will finally understand how the woman mind works. Sorry, guys. Women are a mystery too vast for us men to ever completely understand. And it is with this understanding that Peter, a married man, shares verse 7. Husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. Not understand your wives, but live in a way to the best of your poor ability in an understanding way. Showing honor to the women as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. I found this funny. So last week we spent 6 whole verses where Peter's talking to women. And then how many verses does he give a guy? 1. Because we're a little dense sometimes. Husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman as the weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered. Husbands, live in a way with your wife that honors her as a co-heir of the grace of God. Husbands, live with your wife as they are royalty, as they are heirs, as they are precious and special to God Almighty. And we can do this. So we understand 3 truths Peter gives us in this verse. The first one: women think differently than men. So he says, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. Just last week, we began to talk about the dynamic of the Greco-Roman family unit and how you had the husband, and the husbands were the focal point of society during that time. So as the thought was, as the husband's life was balanced, as the husband's life was put together, as he served and worshiped of the gods of that time, as he offered sacrifices and pleased them and made a scene of it and showed society that he was very dedicated to this, as he had his household in check, and this includes slaves and as well as his wife, as there was honor there, and they sought and they followed the same religion that he did. And then as he advanced and pursued the Roman agenda and Roman society, as he walked along that path, that as these 3 things were brought into order under the male leadership, that they would produce blessings in society. And so the wife was responsible for having the household point to her husband. And last week we had this challenge where what happens if the wife starts serving God, not his religion? What's the wife to do? What's a mom to do? What's a woman to do in a society where blessings are all dependent upon the husband? Maybe the husband really doesn't care that she's following this, but the husband realizes that as this gets out of whack from a societal standpoint, it's going to start affecting possibly their financial blessings. They might actually get branded as traitors, as rebels. And what's the fastest way to lose your income in the Roman Empire? Is to speak out against the emperor, to speak out against the Caesar. How is this going to work? How is a family to make this work? In essence, God can divide homes. What are they to do? And so Peter walks wives through a very difficult path, and how to still maintain the household while serving God. And God is like, hey, wives, I need you to do your best to honor your husbands. I need you to do your best to work with your husband in this system. Maybe as a result of your lifestyle, he will come to know Jesus. But maybe he doesn't. Wives, still do your best. Oops, not there yet. Okay, so that's for another thing. All right. Wrong way. All right, so you have the system here. Now here. So he goes back, and so now after he explained this to this group of Christian women, he goes into verse 7, likewise. He's like, okay, so I've talked to the ladies. I've talked to the moms and the wives. I've talked to them how they are to respond in this society that is sort of set up for their human failure if they're following Jesus. Husbands, Christian men, live with your wives in an understanding way. We look back here at verse 3. Okay, so look at verse 1, okay, of chapter 3. It says, even if, so likewise wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that even if some do not obey the word, they may be won without a word by the conduct of their wives. Peter realized that he was potentially talking to homes where you had two different religious perspectives, ideologies, pursuits. The same is true even here with husbands. Husbands, as you come to know Jesus Christ, it's quite possible that your wife does not know Jesus Christ. So what are you supposed to do, men? Peter says, men, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. It's not just limited. Only live with your wife if she happens to share your viewpoint. Only live with her if she happens to take your perspective. If she serves your God. Because if she doesn't, you don't really have to live in an understanding way. God understands. No. Peter's like, God expects you, husbands, to live in an understanding way with your wife. Men, what this means is, as a result of maybe a job change, or maybe in a situation with the husband as he changes his religion, and suddenly the wife who is unsaved is really confused about why the husband would ditch years and years of established relationships in the community and the relationship with the church and society by following this guy named Jesus. What's the husband supposed to do there? He's supposed to maybe slow down a little bit. Try to help his wife understand, hey, it's going to be okay. Yeah, I'm following God. It's different. Still love you. It's okay. Because a woman's looking at this, a mom is looking at this, and as a result of upsetting the balance here, that could actually mean poverty. That could mean the husband's drug out and killed. It could mean any sort of things. And so she's looking at this, she's like, wait a second. Really, women don't get prime opportunity for new jobs. I've lived under this system here. Now suddenly my husband's yanked out. Who's going to provide? Who's going to take care of it? See, understand that this situation is going to bring fear. Maybe she fears he's going to run off. Abandonment. The husband has decided to change. How far is this going to go? What about my children? See, it's often been said, and I've heard it said, that if a husband gets saved, then a wife is not far behind. I have found absolutely no evidence scripturally that that is true. I'm just saying. There's no guarantee of this. And husbands, in a situation like that, you got to realize it might not happen. But it doesn't change Peter's command here. Husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. So there's a couple weeks ago, we did the youth, maybe you guys saw it on Facebook. So we did this, so we did the study. So you guys see that? That's a banana. And those are raisins. And that's a banana peel with the sticker. You guys see that? Okay, so we played this game where we're like, okay, we want people on Facebook to guess what we made. All right, and so I knew exactly what it was. Eric is like, hey, these are like people on a bridge, and that's the Loch Ness Monster. I totally got it. Okay? I did. Okay? That's how men work. Okay? That's how men's mind work. Okay? This is what my wife thought. It's a drowning panda reaching his paw toward the sky in one last goodbye before he perishes. She might have got a little dramatic on there just for the fun of it, but still, You guys see how that works? When she looked at that, she saw something completely different that it's pretty obvious to me it's a Loch Ness monster and people are on the bridge. And she's like, nope, I see a panda. I loved it. It completely highlights the fact, guys, we think of things completely. I love this. I don't think I'll ever forget this. Guys think in a completely different way than women do. Completely different way. And that's okay. The challenge is men. You got to live in a way of understanding with your wife. If she gets stressed out because you walk up to her, hey dear, are you ready yet? And what she's hearing in that moment, who knows what, okay? Okay, once you realize, guys, what she is thinking here and feeling, don't ask her that question anymore. Don't. Live in a way of understanding. Realize, okay, so I'm not going to respond in that way, in that moment. Understand that, hey, you know, I've heard at other times where, so if we just, women, when this is like a little old school, you know, old school mentality here. But like when your husband comes home from work, he just wants to sit down on his recliner. And this is actually from like some meme or something I heard from a long time ago. And ladies, just let him sit down for an hour and regroup mentally. And the mom is like, I haven't killed yet your 3 children. Take them before they die. Husbands, you know what? If you come home and your wife wants to pull out her hair, and maybe you see your one child hanging upside down to duct tape on the wall, step in an understanding way. Don't be like, I need my rest, woman. No. Just say, you know, we're going to go outside and ride bikes. And go. Live in a way of understanding with your wives. Realize they think things differently. They respond differently. Men, the pressure is on you. Figure out how that works. Because all women are different. Good luck, men. Good luck. If you want more advice, I got none. Husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way. Even if you do not understand what makes them tick, support them, help them, get out of their way, take the children, go on a hunting trip and leave her alone. If she wants to talk to you when the football game is on, guess what? There'll be a football game on next week. Mute the football game. But then we can go, ladies, maybe don't pick the time the Seattle Seahawks play football to have your deep conversation, okay? I'm just saying, there's a balance here. But what I'm saying is it's like women, help your men out, men. If she's having trouble, turn the stupid thing off. It ain't worth it. Live in an understanding way with her. There was a difference. There's like a brain differences between genders. There's been a lot of studies. They're advancing with medical science and the ability to register electrodes and all those other stuff going on in the brain. So I'm going to try to read this. So there's a few differences. One of them is the way men and women process information differently. So, oh no, it erased it. Well, this printing's bad. Anyways, so we'll just go to chemistry, okay? So male and female brains process the same neurochemicals, but to different degrees, and through gender-specific body-brain connections. Some dominant neurochemicals are serotonin, and testosterone. You guys have heard of those. So there's 2 things that are completely different in guys. And if you have never most ladies realize this, but they're, when they're pregnant, their hormones and everything are going all over the place. And am I right in saying that? It's pretty obvious. It's like, and I'm happy, and I'm sad, and I'm yay, and okay? It's all going on in the brain, okay? Guys, you're like, I don't understand this. That's okay. Just imagine how good you feel after you work out. Now imagine tanking from that. That's pretty much what a lady goes through regularly. There are structural differences between the human brain. So it's structural refers to actual parts of the brain and the way they are built, including their size and or mass. Females often have a larger hippocampus, our human memory center. Females often have a higher density of neural connections into the hippocampus. As a result, girls and women tend to input or absorb more sensorial and emotive information than males do. So that is why, guys, sometimes you accidentally get your wife mad at her because something you did reminded her of something else you did in the past, and suddenly everything that you have ever done is now in that moment. Okay? Guys are like, I don't know what to do. I describe it like this. So we have, so guys, when we put, guys are really good at compartmentalizing. We're pretty good. Now, I'm not saying we're perfect at it, because a lot of times we'll compartmentalize stuff and it ends out rotting everything else, and then guys are not perfect here. But oftentimes, guys like to just imagine their clothes. There's one, a shelf, not a shelf, it's a drawer, a dresser, okay? So you have this here, and this here, and this here, and this here. And when we're working, we can open this drawer, do our work, close it, open this drawer, go do our work. Occasionally, this drawer will leak over into the other one or rot in there, so our problems at work will end up bringing them at home and everything else. So we're not, but guys typically have a tendency of putting stuff in drawers, okay? That's what. Girls, ladies, from my experience, they pour everything into one giant chest. So what happens is, husbands, when you blow it with your wives, it is like you've taken a dirty shirt and you've put it in her dresser, in her chest, and mixed it up. So now, she has to dig through all the emotional stuff just to find that one dirty shirt to handle. And a lot of times guys are dumb and we like to put more dirty clothes in there, not realizing that now she doesn't know it's clean or dirty. Guys are like, my wife messed up, put in the drawer, but she made me dinner. Yes! And so we like to do this. Girls are like, you blew it, it's in a chest. It's just how we process things differently. It's okay, it's just different. All right, so structural differences, what else? Blood flow and brain activity. Let me read this one. So the female brain, in part, thanks to far more natural blood flow throughout the brain at any moment. It really makes guys sort of like we're lacking brain flow in there. Maybe we are. They have more white matter processing. And because of a contraception part of the brain called, I don't even know how to say it, will ruminate. Oh, yes. Okay, there we go. Okay, so part of the brain called the cingulate gyrus, don't even have any idea what that is, will often ruminate on and revisit emotional memories more than the male brain. It's why guys sometimes act pretty unemotionative, because we're like, Exactly. So, it's just, it happens, okay? So, males in general are designed a bit differently. Males tend, after reflecting more briefly on an emotive memory, to analyze it somewhat, then move on to the next task. We just open up a new drawer, okay? During this process, they may choose to change course, do something active, unrelated to feelings, and rather than analyze their feelings at all. And thus, observers may mistakenly believe that boys avoid feelings in comparison to girls or move to problem solving too quickly. That's just how guys work. It just is, okay? Ladies, you got to realize, sometimes when she tells you a story or she tells you something hard, she doesn't want you to fix it. How many of you guys have messed up that one? Well, if it was me, I would just run over them with a car. I'm not asking for your advice. I'm sorry that happened. Bah, you don't understand me. Oh, great, okay? How do you work with this, all right? So guys, we got to realize, hey, it's different. Now, I will say, I use this. These aren't direct illustrations of my life. Okay, my wife, she doesn't respond like that. She is calm, cool, and collected. But she's different than how I think. And that's good. And I'm glad she's there. She helps a lot. I'm almost married 10 years. And I'm slowly appreciating it more and more and more about what she brings to the table. And some of you guys who've been married for 25 years and 30 years and 40 and 50, you realize they bring something different to the table. That's good. Live in an understanding way with your wife. Second, women are weaker in some ways than men. Now, I am not saying that women are weak. But in some ways, they are weaker. On average, men are generally stronger than women. We're generally faster. We're generally hard-headeder. We're just there, okay? So we are typically, we're stronger, faster, nothing wrong. I mean, you can watch an NBA basketball game and compare it to the WNBA. You can watch guys soccer versus girls soccer. There comes a point in time where girls are no longer able to keep up physically with guys. I mean, would agree there? I mean, it just happens, okay? So what Paul is saying, or Peter's saying is, he said, look, live in an understanding way, okay? Second, I want you guys to show honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. She might not be able to go as hard as you can. She might not be able to keep on trucking. She might not be able to physically push herself as far. What's sort of funny about that is I see more women push themselves harder than their man ever did. Guys, we can step up here. We can step up. So women are weaker. So this is how I look at it. So men are like buckets. Okay? This bucket is pretty. The bucket's okay, isn't it? See? Why? Well, that's right. Okay, now, does this have any less purpose than a bucket? Would you rather eat out of the bucket, which I don't know what has been in there, I think septic stuff in there, or this nice glass bowl? Thank you. Well, you guys are hesitating. I'm like, you guys really want to eat out of the septic system? Come on. Okay? Now, see, look, buckets have a purpose, don't they? They do. And glass bowls have a purpose, don't they? They both have a purpose. Is there anything less valuable about either of them? What, am I going to put the septic system in here? Please don't. Yeah, if you do, shame on you, okay? But this is it. Guys, live in it. So showing honor, treat her like the glass bowl. Don't treat her like a bunch of guys treat each other. Hey, man, how you doing, buddy? I mean, watch a bunch of kids hang out with each other. Guys, hey, let's go down that hill, man, on our bikes. Oh, that hurt, man. Yeah, let's do it again, okay? That's how guys work. Okay? Don't treat your women like that. Okay? They're the glass bowl. Treat them with honor and show care to them. Guys, if she's out, I'll be honest, husbands, if she's out working you and you don't have a legitimate medical reason, like your leg has been chopped off or something, get off the couch. Make her sit down on the couch. Go clean the table. Go clean up in the house. Treat her, honor her. Work with her. Show honor to her as the glass bowl, as the weaker vessel. Don't treat her like the bucket. Don't pour your septic system stuff in the glass. Don't do that. And the reason he gives here's the last one, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life. What a powerful imagery. And this last one says, women impact your prayer life. See, this is the imagery that they think of in their minds. And so who gets all the credit? In this system, it's guys do. Guys get it. Guys get the credit. It's a male-centered, husband-centered way. Everything's focused on that. He's like, no. Peter's like, you guys are husband and wife. She's your co-heir. So the household now is everybody else. Your wife is not just part of here. You guys are together. You guys are one flesh. You guys are a team. She's a co-heir. She is just as valuable as you are. Now, in this society, think about how this truth would have registered. See, male sons were so important that they would adopt if for whatever reason they were not able to have a son, okay, or a son. For whatever reason, medically, however that plays out, so they were unable. The fathers of richer households and Senate positions, they would go to another family and adopt a male. Bring him into the family and specifically adopt him. You never really saw them going out and finding and adopting a daughter. They would adopt the men because everything was passed on through that male line adopting to the male. It all centered around that. He was the heir of the possessions. He was. And Peter's like, oh, God doesn't work like that. See, your wife, she has a relationship with Jesus Christ. She's a co-heir. She's equal with you, buddy. Imagine how this sat with them. She's with you. She's on your same side. Yeah, you're supposed to lead and go and be an example and love and serve like Jesus Christ is. And she's to honor and she's to walk with you, not fighting and pulling against you. But it doesn't mean you're any more important than she is. Guys, you are just as equal as the woman who's sitting next to you. Peter's like, guys, I want you to treat her, honor her, give her respect, live with her in understanding because she is your queen. She's your heir. And what happens is, and this is where we get to this point, see, women, the wife impacts the prayer life of the husband. Now, it's not the way you think. See, sometimes we're taught this mentality where, and I've listened to it said from the pulpit, from Sunday school classes, that a wife won't stray if her husband is godly. And all this pressure is put on the husband to act in a way that is honestly beyond what Jesus Christ even does. You guys think about that? Christians stray from Jesus Christ all the time. And what they tell you is, husbands, if you're perfect, if you live this honorable life, your wife will never feel like straying because you were just so good. I've heard it said. You know what they're practicing there? If you guys ever hear a phrase like that, what they're saying is, husbands, if you have your life perfectly in balance, you will get blessings. It's heresy. Okay? There's no guarantee that you will be blessed just because you happen to do good. There's no guarantee that your wife will perfectly follow you if you are the perfect example. But what does matter, though, if Peter's, look at this. See, Peter doesn't say, husbands, if you are perfectly godly, your wife will follow you, everything is good. He says, I want you to live with your wife in an understanding way. I want you to show honor to her as the weaker vessel. Treat her as the co-heir so that your prayers may not be hindered. Because what ends up happening is as you live with honor and as you honor your wife, it actually has an impact on your prayer life. Doesn't mean you're going to get blessed. But what happens is so in our life, we're like men. It's possible if God's not answering your prayers, your relationship with your wife might be off. It doesn't mean that God isn't answering your prayers. This is how he's answering it. So God, I need wisdom and how to handle my job. I'm stressed. I'm frustrated. I can't do this anymore. God, help me out here. And God's like, hey, are you honoring your wife? Well, no, I'm taking out my frustration on her because I don't have a job. Because I'm stressed about finances. I'm taking out on her. Well, maybe you should work on honoring your wife. But what about my job? I want you to honor your wife. See, he's answering you. But your prayers aren't going too much further than that. I need you to honor her. Honor her like my son Jesus Christ honored you. God, I feel so alone right now. Why have you left me? Well, are you honoring your wife? Well, no, she doesn't understand. Have you told her? Well, no. Maybe you won't feel alone if you just honored your wife. Treat her as a co-heir. God, help me with this financial problem. Go honor your wife. Men, this Mother's Day, I need you to commit to something with me. This doesn't just have to be with your wives. This is just in general. And we are blessed to have a church filled with godly women and godly men. I mean, we are blessed here. But understand, though, that women think of problems differently. We need to live with understanding with all of them. We need to listen to their perspectives. Listen to how they understand things. Listen to their suggestions and advice. And we need to listen. We need to live with understanding with them. We need to demonstrate honor to them as weaker vessels. So on work days and stuff like that, if your wife doesn't want to come, good. It's okay. That's fine. Don't look down on her because she's not as capable as you are. Lastly, realize that how we treat the women in our life have consequences and impact our prayer life. Because God expects some things from us. God expects us to treat our wives as Jesus treated the church. You'll see that in your community group this week. No pressure. You'll be reading Ephesians. It's a big challenge. See, they think of things differently. They might be a little bit weaker physically. Live with understanding. Demonstrate honor. And realize your actions have consequences. Women are co-heirs of God's plan. They are sisters in Christ.